1.4 ERA, including a 1.6 ERA at home, where it's not easy to have an ERA that low. McCoy Stadium, a little bandbox of a ballpark, not unlike Fenway. And behind him, some guys that have been there in the Red Sox minor leagues coming up through the system. Valentin at third, Garcia Parra at short. Offerman and Stanley rest of the way around that Boston Red Sox infield. And you talked about Nomar Garcia Parra being able to do it all. Everybody talks about his offense, but even last night, this guy can get out there and pick it. This actually against the Twins earlier this week.
He can do it, Josh. This is where he's really improved since he's been in the big league. He came up knowing that he could hit, but his defense has really improved over the time that he's been here, and he's going to still get better over the course of time.
25 errors last year. He has shaved that down to a half a dozen so far in 1999. And part of that shortstop triumvirate, Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter, Nomar Garcia Parra. Jimmy Williams happy that he's got Garcia Parra. That's the one that he likes. But you can't go wrong with those other two either. For those of you who'd like to listen to today's game in Spanish, you can do it by pushing the SAP button on your remote or your television set. We'll talk more about this golden age of shortstops throughout the day today. Whether your favorite is Garcia Parra or Jeter up in New York, A-Rod out there in Seattle, Clevelanders will say, hey, what about Omar Vizquel?
And they'd have a good right there, because Vizquel has not only been outstanding with his defense.
Greer fouls the first pitch away.
But his offense has really come on. He's a real threat at the plate now, a very consistent hitter, and he steals bases now, and his game is really complete.
Well, that's how Cleveland, and for that matter, this Texas Rangers team, has been doing it in 1999. The Red Sox, somewhat shockingly, have been relying on pitching. Cho sinks it on the outside corner, and the count 1-2.
Cho has a history of, he's going to be around the plate. He's going to throw strikes. He's going to get ahead of the hitters. So he's pitching against a team that likes to swing the bat. So we'll see what happens.
Greer fouls it out of play. You know, you talk about Cho coming up from Pawtucket. They've gotten rookie performances from Brian Rose, Juan Pena. They brought John Wasden up from the minor leagues. All those guys, not just Pedro Martinez, have contributed.
Well, Josh, sometimes when a team is going through what the Red Sox are going through right now, they lose Mo Vaughn, and people say, what are they going to do? Sometimes it's better for an organization, because then when they start to give the young players a chance to play up here, then they can find out what they can do.
Greer socks one foul. We hang at 1 ball, 2 strikes. First time that the Rangers are seeing Jin Ho Cho, a guy that pitching coach Kerrigan likes very, very much. On the ground to second. And Rusty Greer, the first out of the ball game. Joe Kerrigan was telling us before the game that if he can work both sides of the plate, he's going to be there through 6 or 7 innings.
Well, he's going to be there because here he is. He's got a live arm. He's got a live arm here. And he's very aggressive working. And his delivery fools people. And he's going to be right around the plate. You're going to have to beat him by swinging the bat.
Roberto Kelly, number 2 hitter. He's in the game today instead of the young stud just up from Oklahoma, Ruben Mateo, who they figure is the future in center field. That creates an interesting problem. It's not just getting playing time for Kelly, but once Tom Goodwin comes off the DL, what do you do with Goodwin and his 27 steals?
Well, I'm sure Johnny Oates liked that situation. You'd rather have too much talent than not enough.
Off speed, a strike. And Ruben Mateo, you know, for Texas, a lot of people are saying there's no turning back with this guy. Once you bring him up, you got to play him. Strike called outside corner. Kelly is down on strikes.
I think he's giving us a little example of Joe is what type of pitcher he is. Coming right after Kelly right here. Fastball, outside part of the plate. And he moves the ball around. That pitcher's right there. He moves around. He works both sides of the plate. He throws strikes with his fastball. He throws strikes with his breaking ball. And he has a very good changeup.
Now against Rafael Palmeiro. He missed only 6 games in his 5 years in Baltimore, Frank.
He comes to play day in and day out.
Except when Randy Johnson's on the mound. Tags this one right field. Going towards the corner, Nixon makes the catch. And Jin Ho Cho retires the Rangers in order. Offerman, Valentin, Daubach, maybe Garcia Parra next. Updike called a lyric little bandbox of a park. Fenway Park is where we are for the Rangers and the Red Sox in the Budweiser starting lineup. For the Bostonians, in this one, it's Jose Offerman leading off, then John Valentin. And Brian Daubach, who has come from literally out of nowhere. He was released by the Marlins, and he's been terrific. Nomar Garcia Parra, you might have heard of him. He's the shortstop. Troy O'Leary in left, Mike Stanley, just breaking out of a slump. He's at first. Creighton Gubanich is the catcher. Damon Buford, he is in center field, and Trot Nixon in right field for the Rangers. They're going to look to keep fluffing up that ERA from Mark Clark. It has wandered up into the 8.3 range.
That is ugly.
No, that's not good. And over the last 3 starts, an 18 ERA for Mark Clark. Defensively, he'll receive help, he hopes, from Greer, Kelly, and Gonzalez in the outfield. Rusty Greer, he might want to try and climb that green monster out there in left. He's known to play Spider-Man on occasion, go out there and try to rip a ball away. Ruben Mateo actually made a wall-crawling catch yesterday to rob this man, Jose Offerman. Mateo literally peeling the ball off the monster in left center. And Offerman, if he doesn't get a hit here, Frank, he'll be under 300 for the batting average for the first time all year. A 1 out of 18 homestand.
Clark is just the opposite of Cho. He nibbles.
Pours that one in, and the count 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1. He's going to be behind the hitters. He tries to get hitters to hit at balls out of the strike zone, and that's the way he can be effective. When he has to come in the strike zone, he's going to have trouble.
He's hit left field for Offerman. Mark Clark, among other things, Frank, has struggled with his split-fingered fastball. That's a pitch he's traditionally used to put away a hitter when he's ahead in the count. But it's just getting to that point where he's ahead in the count that has been the problem more than anything else the last 2 starts.
Well, that's the key to any pitcher, Josh, being successful, getting the head of the hitters. And he's not doing that. Now he has to throw the ball over the larger part of the plate. And when you don't have the splitter going for you, the hitters are going to tee off on the ball. He has to trust his stuff to make the hitter swing the bat early in the count.
Now, Offerman has pretty good speed at first, but the neutralizer's behind the plate. That's Pudge Rodriguez. Rodriguez has stolen twice as many bases as he's allowed in 1999. Only 7 attempted base stealers have done it successfully against Pudge.
Well, he almost completely shuts down the running game. The managers put that sign away, the steal sign away. They put their hands in their pocket.
Valentin twisting one down the right field line. Gonzalez on the move. He won't get it. That is foul, untouched. Ed Hickox, the first base umpire, ran over there looking like an airplane with his wings out. Larry Barnett and Greg Kosk also on the bases today. Dan Morrison is behind the plate.
John Valentin is a dead pull hitter, just about. He will hit the ball to right field only when he's forced to. And usually when you get him out or try to get him out, you pitch him away and keep the ball down on him. You have some success against him.
That one's too far down. Valentin grows it to 2-1. And Valentin takes a lot of pride in how far he's come, Frank, and he should. This is a guy who was a number 9 hitter on his college team. A .216 hitter at Double-A. One of the best self-made success stories in baseball, John Valentin. And he's ahead in the count 3-1.
Well, Mark Clark, you can't be successful like this. You drive your manager crazy, you drive the pitching coach crazy, you put your defense back on the heels. And I know it's early in the game, but still, they sit out there and they're not ready to break on the ball when it's hit, when you're pitching like this in these counts.
right to third. Todd Zeile jumps up to make the play.
Nice pitch, Clark. What George Bamberg used to say, the pitching coach for the Baltimore Orioles. One of his pitches to throw a line drive out. He said, nice pitch. You can see right here, they're trying to hit the outside corner, but that ball tails back over the plate. And it's whacked. He was very fortunate Valentin didn't get that ball up in the air.
Zeile gets up on his trampoline to make the catch. And now we've got a battle of downstate Illinois natives. Mark Clark against Brian Daubach. And you talk about your nice stories. Brian Daubach might have Valentin lapped when it comes to coming from out of nowhere. This guy figured he'd be back home in Illinois playing softball on his brother's team, Demos Sports Bar. He was released by the Marlins. Cranks this one to left center. Heading towards the alley, Kelly cuts it off, but on to third is Offerman. Daubach hustles to second.
I really think that was a mistake on the cutoff man's, Josh, right there. His position of where the ball was coming back into the infield. I think he should have lined up with second base and let Kelly throw that ball to second base, and the runner would have had to stay at first base instead of lining up between. Here's the pitch. Mark Clark up in the strike zone right there. Nice level swing, hits the ball to left center field. A nice swing right there. And here's the position right here. I just think the shortstop should have gone more in line with the second baseman and allowed Kelly to throw the ball to second base to keep the double play in order.
That's John Shave out there at short today. He came up primarily as a second baseman. Hasn't been at short in about 2 or 3 weeks. In fact, this is his first game in 12 days. Now it's Garcia Parra, and he takes down and outside. Mark Clark continues to be his own worst enemy up there on the mound.
Well, the one pitch he did throw over the plate for a strike, starting the hitter, got whacked for a base hit. So I think he said, well, I'm going back the way I was throwing.
Two balls and no strikes to a guy who always seems to hit the ball on the sweet spot of the bat. Nomar Garciaparra was telling us he only broke 3 bats all of last year.
Sounds like Stan Musial. He used one bat so long it had an indentation on the bat where he was hitting the ball.
2-0 is peeled foul. How about for you? I mean, you're a Hall of Famer, but didn't you break a bat or two?
Oh, I broke a bat or two. I broke against Dean Chance one day. Josh, I had 3 at bats, and I broke 6 bats. I couldn't stop swinging at that fastball that ran in on me. I just could not stop swinging, and he kept boring in on me. I kept breaking my bats.
Jim Rice sometimes would break a bat just by checking his swing. He was that strong, they say. 3 balls and a strike to Garciaparra. In with a 6-game hitting streak. Troy O'Leary, who had a home run last night, is next. The Red Sox only had 3 hits all last night. Already they've got 2 against Mark Clark here in the first inning today. Bases loaded for Troy O'Leary. And talking to Mark Clark yesterday, Frank, he admits readily that this is a confidence thing right now more than anything else. Dick Bosman will head on out there to talk to his big right-hander. Clark saying that the last few starts, whenever it goes wrong, whether it's the first inning or the 5th inning, he's in that mindset where it's, well, here we go again.
Well, he's the only one that can correct that, though. If he's in that mindset, then throw strikes. Trust his stuff. Trust his defense behind him to make plays. The average hitter on a course of a season that swings at the first pitch, they hit under 200, Josh. So make him hit the ball. He's the only one that can correct that.
Batting 5th, number 25, the left fielder.
Now remember, the Rangers made quite a run at the former Red Sox Roger Clemens, trying to convince him to come on home. They tried to convince the Toronto Blue Jays to trade him to Arlington, Texas. It did not happen. Mark Clark ended up being the big signing this offseason. Now he's got Troy O'Leary. And O'Leary spins it out of play. And this guy, Troy O'Leary, has had tremendous success against Mark Clark. Of those 6 hits, a couple of home runs.
That's why I was surprised that he didn't really go after Gossip-Parr a little bit more aggressive, because he has to know that O'Leary has had good luck against him.
But here, at maybe the most important time in this inning, Clark finally gets ahead of a hitter, 2 strikes.
Well, I think whatever Dick Bosman went out there and said to him, I think he's got the message. He is now working more aggressively. He's throwing the ball over the plate. He's spotting his pitches better on the hitters. Now we got to find out if he can finish them off.
Not quite yet. And with Pudge Rodriguez vacuuming up baseballs, and that's one thing that's got to give Mark Clark some confidence. Not a single passed ball this year charged to a Texas Ranger catcher.
Well, what that does for a pitcher, he says, hey, even with a man on third base with less than 2 outs or whatever, I can throw the ball down in the dirt or throw a breaking ball, and I know it's not going to be a pass ball.
A 1-2. In on the hands and foul. Oh, Jim Rice going to make us use that line about he's a DH. See him wearing the microphone today. If Jim says anything of interest, we'll try to run that to you. Fox sounds of the game.
He's probably sitting over and saying, give me a bat. Let me get up there against this guy.
Fouled back, and we stay at 1-2.
See right there, O'Leary protected the plate. The ball's a little bit out of the zone, but he didn't take any chances on being called out with the bases loaded. He fought that tough pitch off right there, and now he gets a chance to have another swing right there. That's just a nice protecting the plate. He's not going to let the umpire call him out. You watch this pitch. It's supposed to be up and over the plate. It tails off, not over the plate.
Whoa, just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes, says Dan Morrison.
Well, that's where they have to go with O'Leary to try to keep him in the ballpark, to have success getting him out, and that's hard in. Don't let him extend his arms.
With the bases loaded. Did he go? Yes, he did, says Greg Kosk.
I'd like to take a look at that one.
Well, don't argue with him, though. That's a guy who was a one-time competitive weightlifter, Greg Kosk.
Batting sixth, number 24, the first
well, the
baseman.
bat got out there a little bit. He stopped his hands, but the bat got out there a little bit. You can see there's the bat right there come out. It's questionable. It could have gone either way.
And it goes the Rangers' way. There's Greg Kosk. He was a shot putter in college, and he also threw the hammer at UTEP.
Well, he threw the hammer on Leary right there. Bingo.
And the inning left to Mike Stanley, who was hoping that he is left an 0 for 27 slump in the rearview mirror. He's gone 4 for his last 9. And in a couple of stints with the Red Sox, he's proven he's a guy that can get a big hit. On the ground to third, Zeal surrounds it, boots it, has no play. 1-0 Boston. The ball was scorched over there, and normally Todd Zeal, when he keeps it in front of him, is able to find it. Not that time. It's an E5 to get the game's first run across.
The ball got up on him. He was defensing that ball instead of getting his hands out in front of him. And he would have played that ball better. If you watch him, he gets his hands get back up under him right there defensively. He's trying to protect that ball defensively instead of being aggressive and getting his hands out in front of him.
Base is still loaded. Here's Creighton Gubanich. He only has 1 big league home run, but it is a grand slam.
They say if you're not gonna get very many hits, get the most out of them. So he's gotten 4 ribbies with 1 hit.
On the corner to Gubanich, 0-2. Gubanich, the other catcher out of Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. Mike Piazza is the guy out of Phoenixville High that gets a little bit more ink.
Just a little bit. And well deserved.
They actually got a chance to play against each other. just several days ago. Pop-up foul, and Gubanich was telling us before the game today, hey, I'm winning. I had 1 RBI in that game. Piazza had none. So tell me, who's the better catcher?
He's got a point. Let's see, who has a larger bank account?
That would be Piazza.
Oh, okay. I think that answers the question.
Bases full, 2 down. Outside, 1 and 2. Now here's what we're talking about with Clark, Frank. The ability, once you're ahead of a hitter, to just rear back and put that guy away.
Finish him off. Don't waste a lot of pitches. Take a good shot at him, maybe no balls and 2 strikes, but then you have to go get him.
Another nice stop by Pudge Rodriguez.
See, we had a pitcher in Baltimore named Tommy Phoebus. He would get the quick 2 strikes on you, then everybody in the outfield, infield would say, relax. We got 3 pitches. And we started calling him 3 and 2 Phoebus, because he would run the count to 3 and 2 before he tried to finish the hitter off. And we hated him working on getaway days.
2-2 out pitch. Yep, 3 and 2.
3 and 2 Clark. Now what happens, Josh? So he's giving the runners a chance at first and second to get a running start. And that run at first base has a chance to score from first base on a long single or a double.
Now remember, Clark thought he was out of the inning. Stanley hit the hard grounder to Zeal.
Should have been. But now he has to pick up his defense.
Got him, changing up. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Mark Clark, and 1 unearned run is across. Juan Gonzalez leads it off for the Rangers. Right after this on Fox. Cho makes his second big league start here in 1999, working with Creighton Gubanich as his battery mate. We had a chance to talk to Creighton Gubanich in an attempt to scout out the native South Korean.
Jin Ho Cho features a fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, and a split. Try to keep the ball down on most hitters, work the ball in and out. He's got good breaking ball. He's got good stuff. Just a matter of him hitting his spots and putting his pitches where he needs to put them. Otherwise, you know, if you're going to do that with our scouting report, he's going to be successful.
And you better do that against this fellow, Juan Gonzalez. 19 homers, 56 runs batted in, the reigning AL MVP.
If he makes a mistake, Juan will capitalize on it.
Soft stuff on the outside corner.
Well, that's what you have to do with Juan. You have to go with soft stuff away or hard breaking balls away, but you have to keep them down. If you get it up, he'll hit that ball out over the right center field fence.
Little check swing foul, and let's take a look at the Juan Gonzalez hit zone to back that up.
Well, you can see, you can fill this one in right here. You can fill all of that in up there and make it red, because if you get the ball up on him away, he'll hit that ball out the right center field.
Again, putting it softly down and away from Juan Gonzalez. A guy that hit his 300th home run at a younger age than you did, Mr. Robinson. Younger age than Hank Aaron. Are you feeling the footsteps?
Yes, I am.
He's coming.
It's getting hot on him. It's getting hot.
He's got a ways to get to your 586.
That guy in St. Louis will probably get there before he will. Mark McGuire.
In the air, center field. Damon Buford started back, now coming in to make the catch. So far, so good for Jin Ho Cho as he wins out against Gonzalez after going 1-2-3 in the first.
Lee Stevens.
Right there. That Gonzalez on right there to be filled in and be red right there. He's tough to pitch to. You can't make a mistake and get him out. You have to be right, very precise. Very precise. You got to get that ball down on him. Down, down. Not that low, but you got to get it down and away.
So you think Cho might have gotten away with one right there?
He certainly did, and I think he realizes it too.
Lee Stevens had a home run last night.
He crushed it too, Josh, to almost dead center field. But to right center field, as a matter of fact. You just have to get the ball down on him.
Right beyond what they call the triangle. Rip and a miss here at some high heat. Right where it says 420 in right center field. Or if you're from Canada, 128. This ball straight down the line, and a curling foul wide of Johnny Pesky's foul pole down there. So we've seen two of the quirks of this ballpark in successive at-bats. That short right field foul pole. But then, boy, does it take off out there to right center. This ball punched in a right, a base hit for Lee Stevens, and the first base runner for the Texas Rangers today. Right now, we're going to return you to Keith Olbermann. He's standing by in the Fox Television Center for a game break. Hello, Keith.
Hi, Josh. Well, listen, last night, Mark McGwire argued a third strike call. I don't think anybody's going to argue about this. A home run reminiscent of last season, 385 feet long and about as many high. 2 men on board, and the Cards are ahead of the Mets 3-0 in the first. Back to you.
Wow, he might catch your 586 next month.
Before this month is out.
There he goes again, Mark McGwire. And here's Pudge Rodriguez back in the lineup. Missed a few games with back spasms. You know, the crazy thing about McGwire, he hits the 70 last year. Here he is on a pace for mid-50s this year. And it's this universal disappointment. You know, everybody's saying, man, what's going on with McGwire?
Well, when you raise the bar as high as he did, it's tough to satisfy people.
Ball drifts out of play, 0-2. There's only a handful of guys that have ever hit 50. McGwire is on his way to doing it 3 years in a row. And for some, it just doesn't seem to be enough because he's not on a pace for 70 or 80.
Right. But how about Griffey and Canseco? They have, what, 25, and nobody's even talking about it. Because, you know, the bar's been raised to 70.
Towards second, beyond the diving Offerman into center, a base hit for Pudge Rodriguez.
Looked like he could have taken one more step, Josh, before he dove, and he'd have probably been right on that ball. I think he was a little early on his dive.
Batting 7.
2 on and 1 out.
Number 27.
And Todd Zeile
The third baseman
will have a chance to come up, get
Todd
Texas
Zeile.
right back in this ball game.
Normally, you don't want to pitch a hitter inside very often in this ballpark, especially at one at bat. But this is where you have to pitch Zeile to be consistent in getting him out. You have to crowd him with the ball.
Zeile hammers one deep left field. Texas has taken the lead as Zeile hits it out onto Yawkey Way. Number 11 for Todd Zeile. We thought we might see some offense today. It is already 3-1 Rangers.
With this ball club over here in the third base dugout, you're going to see offense almost every time they take the field. Very rarely that they're not going to have a good offensive ball game.
Batting 8. Number 10.
Zeile, remember, made the error in the bottom of the first that allowed the Red Sox to take the lead. So now he gets it back, plus a couple. Former Boston Red Sox, Luis Alicea, hits it sharply to where he used to be at Fenway Park, second base. 2 down in the inning, and we'll flash you back to Todd Zeile.
Well, as I said, you have to crowd him, but they're sitting up out of the way. Right there, that ball tailed back in over the plate, and he nailed it. He didn't miss it.
Batting 9. Number 15. The shortstop, John Shave.
John Shave, the batter, for his first at bat in 12 days. One of the great things about Fenway, a ball gets out there on Yawkey Way, and everybody gets to run around looking for it. I wonder how deep a drop that was.
I tell you, that's one of the real attractions here, that wall out there. When I used to come in as a hitter, I ignored it. It's just like I was in any other ballpark because I didn't want it to mentally affect me. I just go up there thinking I'm in another ballpark and swing the bat and let the ball go where it may.
Shave did go around, and that'll do it. Jin Ho Cho serves up the 3-run home run to Todd Zeile. Rangers up 3-1.
Brought to you by Pepsi, the thrill of Star Wars Episode 1 and the joy of cola.
For the Red Sox, number 2.
Well, Mark Clark wiggled out of it in the bottom of the first inning. He goes back out there now for the second. Could have been a lot worse. He had bases loaded and just one out. He's actually in the lead right now, 3-1, thanks to Todd Zeile. And a strike rides in there to Damon Buford, a guy who used to be a bat boy for Frank Robinson's San Francisco Giants. How about that?
Come on, Josh. You're putting age on me.
I'm just trying to put age on Damon, actually. We know how old you are.
He's come a long way. He's really bulked up. He's now able to understand what hitting is all about and use his skills.
You never thought about pinch hitting him for Jack Clark, though, huh?
No.
Back in '84 when he was 12?
No, but I had a couple of guys on that I thought about it to pinch hit before. The one thing he could do, he could run.
In the dirt, 2-2. That's Damon Buford. His dad, Don Buford, was a coach for Frank Robinson on that San Francisco Giants team.
One thing his dad could do, he could hit a fastball. If you throw him a fastball down and in, boy, it might wind up in the stands.
In the air, right center. That will find a seam and bounce. Damon Buford rolls to second base. He has a leadoff double. Now, we talked about it last inning, and Mark Clark was able to wiggle out of it just before Troy O'Leary came up with the bases loaded. Dick Bosman went out to the mound. We've got Dick Bosman mic'd at Fox Sounds of the Game.
Just missing there, Pudge? Huh?
What do you think?
One split. Okay, all right. We make your pitches on this guy, too, right here, okay? Don't give in to this sucker either, okay? Stay after him.
Second one.
Okay. All right, you can stay down with this guy, you know, in and out, though, all right? Don't be afraid to bust this guy in if you have to. If you miss, you make him move his feet, and you go back out there again down, all right? He'll swing the bat for you. Come on.
And actually, as it turned out, Troy O'Leary took a called third strike, and that did help put some fears out of Mark Clark's head. We talked about Mark Clark just getting inside of his own head these days when he's looking at that ERA of 8.38, wondering what next is going to go wrong.
He doesn't think negative out there on the field. No matter what position you're playing, bad things are going to happen to you. Same way with an outfield or infield. If they don't want the ball hit to them, it's going to be hit to them, and they're going to mess up.
Trot Nixon bangs one to second. Alistea plays it over. And Buford takes third on the play. We are going to get you right back to Hollywood. Keith Olbermann is in the Fox Television Center. Another game break.
Yeah, Josh, and another home run festival day in Cleveland. First, Butch Husky, the ex-Met, with his 14th of the year off Dave Burba. Burba got one a little too inside, but then Jacob Cruz, who's only playing because Will Cordero is hurt, answers in the bottom of the second. Two-run job off Melvin. Don't get your panties in a bunch, and he did. 2-1 Indians still in the third inning.
Indians, they can score some runs in a hurry. No lead is safe against that ball club.
Jose Offerman takes a strike. As the play-by-play guy tries not to giggle at that nickname. Regain his composure somewhat. Jose Offerman with a chance to get the run home from third.
Nixon had a productive out right there. He hit the ball to the right side, moved the run over to third. He didn't get him in, but he got him in the scoring position right there with fly balls to score.
It's a strike on the outside corner to Offerman. I'm still laughing at Olbermann.
As a hitter right here, you want to concentrate on hitting the ball up the middle of the field, preferably on the ground, because if you do, Buford will be able to score very easily.
This ball's going to drop. It is now a 3-2 game. Boy, you mentioned Jose Offerman's in a slump. And he shuts you up by going 2 for 2 in the first 2 innings.
Well, I think what really got him into gear was when you said if he didn't get a hit the first time up, he'd drop on the 300 for the first time this year. And he says, no way, I want to go there.
No, cosmetically, you want to keep it in the 300s, no question. Nice, sweet, short stroke, as always, from Jose Offerman.
That's what it takes.
And again, normally you'd say get ready for Offerman and get running. But it's Pudge Rodriguez, and that howitzer recalls an arm behind the plate.
Yeah. And also, the Red Sox are not what you call a running ball club. They are very protective of their outs here in this ballpark because that wall is very inviting out there, and you just try to give your offense a chance to swing the bat. They'll run in situations. They'll run the steal bases, not just to run.
To right field, a base hit for Valentin. Cutting around second, Offerman heading for third. And the Red Sox, who were 3 hit for the game yesterday, have come on out there this afternoon and gone 5 for 10.
Well, it's too bad that Dick Bosman can't make 5 or 6 trips out there. Oh, there he goes again. I think this trip is for twofold. Number one, to reinforce Mark Clark positively, and also to give the relief pitcher a chance to warm up. Because I don't think Clark is long for this game, really, the way he's throwing the ball.
And isn't that something that we're talking about, getting the bullpen hot in the second inning? John Burkett, who was in the starting rotation and certainly has plenty of experience pitching in the second inning, but that is as a starter, not a reliever.
Number 23, the designated hitter, Brian Daubach.
Mark Clark has already thrown 40 pitches in this game. Now he's got to face Brian Daubach, who doubled an inning ago. Pitch to the lefty. He is in the dirt, and we talked in the first inning, Frank, about Brian Daubach being ready to go home and hang it up. When you're released by the Florida Marlins, I mean, that's somebody trying to tell you something. But the Red Sox took a flyer on him. Jimmy Williams said he had no idea who the heck he was when he got to spring training. He'd never heard of him before. Hardly any of the players had heard of him before. Well, here he is hitting in Mo Vaughn's old spot in the order. And he's now batting .317.
That's just nice for the young people out there in the audience. If you have a dream, you think you can do it, don't give up.
Dan Duquette took a chance on him. And here's Daubach working the count to 3-0. And the nightmare that is the 1999 season continues for Mark Clark. The ERA up well into the 8s. Nomar Garcia-Parra is next. Smashed center field, and we're tied. On to third goes Valentin. 4th hit of the inning, and the 6th in the game already. Off the righty, Mark Clark.
What you'd like to see a starting pitcher do, a pitcher that's in the ball game, is when you score runs and go ahead of a ball club, or you get yourself back in the game, go out there, shut the other club down, get your team back in the dugout and on offense with a chance to score runs. Just a nice piece of hitting right there, hitting that ball right back up the middle rather than trying to pull that ball.
And it brings up Mr. Fidget. Nomar Garcia-Parra, so active up there. Drives it fair. Down into the left field corner. 1 run scores, and here comes Daubach to third. He'll be held on a Garcia-Parra double.
Mark Clark is not fooling anyone. today. He's not missing any bats. They're right on him.
Johnny Oates has apparently seen enough.
Probably seen too much. Just couldn't get his relief pitcher warmed up soon enough.
Mark Clark, who always has prided himself on being in the ball game in the 7th or 8th inning for his team, hands the ball over with 1 out in the 2nd this afternoon. It is 4-3 Red Sox, and Burkett coming in on Fox.
The Shack you've never seen.
See, I'm big boned and everything, and that's just more me love.
Mad TV, late night tonight on Fox.
Mark Clark just an inning and a 3rd today. Dick Bosman went out there again right before he faced Brian Daubach, trying to settle him down. It did not work.
Well, Dick Bosman can't throw it for him. He can try to tell him what to do, but he can't do it for him. And it just wasn't Mark Clark's day. He just didn't have good stuff out there. He wasn't locating his pitches, and he wasn't mixing up his pitches. So it was just a matter of time.
Daubach singled against him. Garcia Parra doubled on the first one. And now John Burkett facing Troy O'Leary, 2nd and 3rd. Just 1 out. 4-3 Red Sox. With throw to 3rd. Pudge Rodriguez gets the man. Brian Daubach maybe forgetting who it was back there. And Pudge Rodriguez returning to the Texas lineup and immediately paying a dividend.
He probably didn't believe his manager or coaches in the clubhouse when they told him about this. So he had to find out firsthand. Boy, is he quick and accurate. He had no chance. What a weapon.
O'Leary pops it up. How about that? Lee Stevens comes in and makes sure it stays. 4-3 Boston. Fox Sports, home of the '99 All-Star Game, returns after a word from your local station. Has had, unfortunately for him, his shortest outing ever as a big league, major league pitcher. Rusty Greer, top of the order for the Texas Rangers, taking from Jin Ho Cho. 1 strike to count to Greer. He'll be followed by Kelly and Palmeiro. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4-3 Boston. And it'll be up to John Burkett to log some innings now for Texas.
I really like the way Cho is working hitters out there. He's in and out, up and down, mixing his pitches, keeping the hitters off balance.
Just like that. The left fielder, Rusty Greer, strikes out. And boy, if you play left field here at Fenway Park, you got to be ready for anything, I would think.
That's right. There's a lot of little quirks in this ballpark that people don't hear about completely. And let me show you an example here. This ball's hit down the left field line. The left field is going over. The ball is off the wall. And as you can see right there, the ball is in that door, and it can go backwards and forth in that door. And they could have a lot of trouble in there. I remember when Baylor got lost and down in there for about a half an hour. We had to come out of the dugout to almost the third baseline to see what was going on.
Kelly sweeps one to Garcia Parra, and he slings it across. 2 down.
Since Garcia Parra's arm injury, Josh, you see him throwing more sidearm than over the top. He used to just set himself out there and let it fly. He's going to have to learn once in a while, like Ripken did. You got to get it over there with a little less on it. Make sure you just get it. And when you have to gun it, gun it. He doesn't leave anything out. There it is. Sidearm. But he's got to make sure he stays on top of that ball rather than getting, right on the ball, but still getting on top of it. That ball will sink and run if he does.
Palmeiro reaches out, swats it into center. Right to his former teammate back in Baltimore, Damon Buford. Rangers down in order. It is 4-3 Red Sox on Fox. ballpark here in Boston. You take a look at the dimensions, odd as they are, and nobody really believes it's 302 right down the right field line, right, Frank?
It's hard to believe that that's 302 down the line.
But in center, it's every bit of 420. See if maybe Mike Stanley can get a ball out that way. Lee Stevens hit one out there yesterday. Rangers winning 4-1. Slider outside from John Burkett. Stanley, the former Texas Ranger. And a little chopper. Pudge Rodriguez. Yep, no problem. Well, he didn't quite get it out to center field, did he?
He was about 4 feet short.
But when you get it deep to center, you got the angles and the obstacles out there, no question.
There you are, right there. This could be called a Bermuda Triangle right here. Because it gives a very difficult time to the right fielder. The right fielder has to make a choice when he's going out there. Here's a ball that's hit. And the right fielder has a choice to make because he has to say, is it going off the wall or is it going over there in that Bermuda Triangle? And there it is right there. You can see the ball bounce off the wall. The right field has to chase it down.
Creighton Gubanic tags one to right center. Didn't quite get it to the triangle. But he is on first base with one out here in the third inning.
Number 2, the center
All right, we've showed you
fielder.
left, we've showed you center. I guess we should probably talk about right field too, because that is not exactly normal.
No, it isn't. It's a short foul line down there. And when the ball's hit down there, what you have to be very careful of is getting over here too close to this wall and this ball getting by you, because it can get by you and go right on around there. Instead of a double, it's a triple. Sometime maybe inside the Parker.
Rip and a miss by Damon Buford. And of course there's talk now, real serious talk, about a new Fenway Park. It'll look very much like the original, basically just astride of where this one is now.
I think they'd be very wise doing that too, Josh, because this is a ballpark that's very unique. It's very fan-friendly, and it also gives the home team the advantage of the green monster out there, how to play the ball off the wall, the triangle out there in center field, the door down in the left field, and that curve down in the right field corner is all advantage Boston Red Sox.
Right there, strike three. Damon Buford is the second out of the inning.
That was an excellent pitch right there. And Buford couldn't do anything with it. He did what he should do right there, just going back to the dugout. Next time, look at that
Number
pitch.
7,
Right there on the outside
right
corner.
fielder.
Beautiful pitch.
Brett Nixon.
And as you talk about preserving at Fenway, or at least something close to it, maybe more than anything else, it's just being able to actually keep the ballpark or a ballpark in this Fenway neighborhood, which is such an incredible neighborhood.
It is, isn't it? It's just like, you know, the family here. And if it left here, I'm sure that the fans would be very upset in this area here.
Nixon a wave and a miss. Well, heck, Aerosmith got it started a place right across from here, down on Lansdowne Street. I mean, if for no other reason than that, you got to make sure you still have something of value here in the Fenway area.
You're absolutely right. I just think everybody just thinks about this ballpark being right here.
If you can find it, it's a terrific park. Nixon is down 0-2. We're going to take a look at the Pepsi All-Star balloting update. Of course, the All-Star game is on Fox right here in Boston, and in the American League, Ken Griffey Jr. is your leading vote getter. Pudge Rodriguez, you'll note, would be the starting catcher. Garcia Parra trying to overtake Jeter at short. Ground ball sharply to second, and Trot Nixon retired. So the Red Sox, who had 1 in the first and 3 in the second, get none in the third. They still lead by a run. the Stanley Cup Finals go to 7 games Tuesday. Fox will be live in Dallas for the 7th and deciding game between the Sabres and the Stars. Game 7, if necessary, at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, Tuesday, right here on Fox. And speaking of stars from around the Dallas area, Juan Gonzalez takes a look at a breaking pitch outside. Red Sox lead the Rangers 4-3. And then that's something. Back in the Metroplex in Dallas-Fort Worth, it's Hockey Town. Everybody getting excited about their Dallas Stars.
Who'd have thought it?
And if you've never been, just like at the Cowboys game, when they sing the national anthem before the game, when they get to the part about who's brought stripes and bright stars, they shout out that word stars like they're awful proud. It's like your days in Baltimore. When they get to the verse that has an O in it for the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, you used to see a lot of people, some fans would travel on the road and they would do that on the visiting team's park, and people would go look at them, they're shocked. They go, what are you talking about?
Gonzalez out in front in the count 2-2.
So far, he's doing an outstanding job on Gonzalez. He's pitching exactly the way he should pitch him. He's mixing up his speed of his pitches, but he's keeping the ball away and keeping him off balance.
That ball hit in the air to left center. Damon Buford says he's got it. And he's right. Juan Gonzalez, last year's AL MVP. A couple of flyouts to center today.
Well, Juan is off balance. He hasn't really got a real good solid swing. The swing is basically all arms here on this pitch right here. You can see right there. So like all arms right there. And he's not going to have very much success. That ball is out, away from him. A little bit more to plate than they wanted to get right there, but they got the ball away.
Lee Stevens takes up an in-ball one.
They better stay out of that zone with him. He'll be hitting another one like he did last night, Josh. You have to get the ball down on him to have a chance of getting him out. Very unusual for a left-handed hitter to be a high ball hitter.
That one served pretty much middle in, and the count 1-1. You know, Frank, these Texas Rangers right now, they figure if they can get through this stretch that they're in, they only play 9 home games of the 35 leading up to the All-Star break. They can still be in first place at the end of that. They're in very good shape. And it's also, I mean, it's not just that they're not playing that much at home. They're running around from place to place like they're in one of those double-time sketches from the Benny Hill show. You got 3 games in Phoenix, 3 in LA, 3 at home, 4 in New York, 4 in Boston, 3 back home. Off to Seattle, off to Anaheim. Rip and a miss, and the count 2-2. Then they go back for 3 more in Texas, then out to the West Coast again. 3 in Oakland, 3 in San Diego. The schedule is so taxing that Johnny Oates has decided to travel their home batting practice pitcher, Mike Bowden, with them. Even the coaches that throw batting practice figure they're going to get wiped out by their schedule over the last month or so.
What does he want the hitters to think that they're at home when they're taking batting practice, seeing those guys out there on the mound?
Well, there's only so much from home you can travel. One guy, no big deal. Stevens down on strikes. Jin Ho Cho has struck out his 4th of the afternoon.
You know, it's not really the schedule, Josh, or the games that you're playing, but it's the travel that's involved from city to city. You go in the city, you don't have time to unpack. You have to live out of your suitcase, and then before you get comfortable there, you're on to the next city. That's what really wears a ball player out.
And from Texas, really, it's not like they have a neighboring city that they can just commute to. It is a heck of a road trip anywhere they go. And the Rangers do like the way the schedule treats them come September and October. They've got 18 of their last 27 at home.
I don't know if that's an advantage, though.
Pudge Rodriguez slams it. Right center, Buford back. And he has made the catch. 8 straight retired by Cho since the Todd Zeile home run. 4-3 Boston on Fox.
You're watching this Mets-Cardinals action in St. Louis. Those of you watching Texas and Boston, join us as Mark McGwire, who has already gone deep. A drive into center field for his 20th of the year. Stands in with a runner at third, nobody out. 3-1, the Cardinals out in front. And McGwire takes ball 2. Mark McGwire now has 477 home runs in his major league career. And he could accomplish something that's hard to understand. He had home run number 400 last year in his career. Could hit home run number 500 this year. Here it's just a pop-up over to the right side, and I'm glad I'm not standing underneath it. Oru puts it away, and McGwire misses an RBI chance here in the third.
Why not? You'd have plenty of time.
And he's still 111 behind you, Frank Robinson.
Not for long, though.
All right, here, 4-3. The Red Sox lead it. We're in the bottom of the fourth. Jose Offerman has 1 home run this year, but he's got 21 doubles and a half a dozen triples.
What Johnny Oates is looking for from Burkett is to get him to the 7th inning with a lead and let him get into his bullpen out there.
Stroke to right field, a base hit for Offerman. He is 3 for 3.
What slump?
Yeah, no kidding. 2 for 2 off the starter, Clark. Now he softly deposits one in right field off of John Burkett.
Number 13.
Finish what I started there, Josh. That bullpen at Texas has just been outstanding. Once they get to the 7th inning with a lead, it's almost good night.
Well, a Texas team that is 8th in defense, 8th in batting average, 10th in overall ERA. Certainly does beg the question, how the heck do they have the second best record in the American League? And I think you've answered it.
Well, if they get to that bullpen, they shut everybody down.
The bullpen is on a 14-game winning streak as Valentin takes. And the count 1-0. That ties an American League record, by the way, shared by the Red Sox of 1982.
And overall, they're 17-1. That's unbelievable. This early in the year.
Well, and you knew John Wetland was a quality closer. That's not exactly a bulletin, but when you've got these lefties that you've never heard of before, you've got that right-hander Jeff Zimmerman, who was pitching in France 2.5 years ago. Zimmerman has an ERA that sounds more like a fever, 103. And an opponent's batting average of 106.
He just comes in and he doesn't walk people. He doesn't give up hits. He doesn't give up runs. And he just gets you out. He has a good fastball, a good slider, and it's good night.
Pitch to Valentin is too high, and the count goes to 3-0. Well, we probably won't see Zimmerman in this game. He pitched 2 2/3 innings yesterday and again did not give up a hit.
I wouldn't count him out, though.
Swinging on 3-0. Valentin couldn't get it.
Give Burkett credit there. He didn't just lay a fastball in there. He had something on that ball, and it was away from Valentin. It was a good location. You don't ever want to take for granted a hitter is not hitting 3-0, especially today. This normally would be a running count. And I said normally, because normally you don't have that guy behind the plate that Texas has back there. So you may not see Offerman run here.
You mean the guy that's thrown out 72% of attempted base stealers?
Is that all?
Yeah.
That's why you don't run on him, unless it's just that you have to run.
Pudge Rodriguez, a 7-time Gold Glover, 7-time All-Star. Ball is tapped to short. 6-4-3, a double play. And that'll bring up Brian Daubach with 2 out. Folks, here's your chance to win a Nissan Frontier Crew Cab, the first compact pickup with 4 real front hinge doors. All you got to do is answer the question that's coming up right here on the screen. Log on to foxsports.com for your chance to win. And the winners will be announced live during the All-Star game, which is, of course, right here on Fox from Boston.
What do you think, about 1,500 miles?
Wow. Much as I'd like the truck, I don't know. I mean, it sounds right. Daubach out in front at 0-1.
Well, I get the truck, right?
I don't think you're eligible, actually. Isn't there some sort of fine print on there that Fox employees are not eligible for this?
My eyes are not that good.
All right, well, then take the truck. That's fine. Of course, you shouldn't be driving it if your eyes aren't that good.
To see the fine print.
Oh, all right.
That's a good excuse, isn't it?
I still don't think you're going to get the truck.
That's my luck. I have a better chance of hitting the lottery, right?
Daubach takes, and he has to feel like he has cashed in on his little personal pick 6. With the Red Sox batting third in between Valentin and Garcia Parra, are you kidding? Released by the Marlins. One of the Boston sports writers borrowed Jimmy Connor's old nickname. Slapped it on him, the Belleville Basher, out of Belleville, Illinois. I don't know if Jimmy Connors has signed off on that authorized use or not, but Jim Rice has appreciated this rookie stepping in there and hitting .315.
He keeps going the way he's going right now. He can use that without getting permission.
Dan Duquette, who was not on the phone getting Mo Vaughn back. He did acquire Brian Daubach. And no, he's not Mo Vaughn. He doesn't have the charisma, and he certainly is not going to hit you 40 home runs. But from the number 3 spot in the order, the Red Sox have been okay.
Looks like he could also wear Mo Vaughn's uniform, too. Fill it out pretty good.
Up and away, 3 balls, 2 strikes. He mustered up the courage to come over to Hall of Famer Frank Robinson before the game. He had to sign a baseball.
He was a little shaky there, though. He didn't have a lot of confidence when he came over.
Yeah, but look what he's doing for you out there. He's 2 for 2. Not this time. Burkett with that nasty forkball. And the Red Sox are gone. At the end of 4, 4-3, Boston. Park taking you right inside the manual scoreboard on that left field wall. And fiddling with the numbers that currently read Red Sox 4 and the Rangers 3. That's a little eye hole they've got out there. Looks like a little mailbox slot. There's Troy hanging the numbers today. And Todd Zeile actually cleared Troy and the rest of that green monster last time up.
We had a scoreboard like that in Cincinnati out in left center field. And we used to use the pitcher that pitched the day before and put him out there where we could steal the signs. Didn't help us very much, but, you know, every little bit helped, but it didn't do much for us.
Jin Ho Cho deals it down and outside. Todd Zeile, a 3-run home run. That was the last hit that the Rangers have had in this game. On the corner, says Dan Morris, and that's the 5th strikeout for Jin Ho Cho. And right now, back to Keith Olbermann in the Fox Television Center in L.A. for a game break.
And Josh, we'd like to welcome Alan Watson back to the American League. Dave Justice doing the honors in Cleveland off the pole. Number 14, and the Indians are back ahead of the Mariners. They just retained Watson yesterday from the Mets, 4-3 in the top of the 4th. Josh?
Alan Watson, who led the American League in home runs allowed a couple of years ago. Yeah, right back to form, unfortunately. The Mariners are just now coming on, too. Had a little 3-game winning streak.
That club could ever figure out their pitching. They would be tough.
Well, they started Melvin Bunch today. Actually, they extended that winning streak from 3 to 4 with a win in Cleveland last night. This ball hacked into left center. Base hit for Alicea. And breaks a string of 9 in a row that Cho had retired. Mariners craving pitching. The Rangers, if they can get some starting pitching, will be in pretty good shape. For the Mariners, it's really been more about the bullpen than anything else. They lost the big starter, the big unit, at the trade deadline last year. Texas thought they'd be in line to acquire the big unit for this year. It did not happen. They thought they had him signed, but he went to Arizona instead. Then the Rangers thought they had Roger Clemens, but the Blue Jays at the last minute traded with the Yankees instead. Shave takes inside. So really, if you think about it, Frank, that's twice they've lost to the Yankees since last October. First in the AL playoffs, then in the Clemens sweepstakes, although they beat Clemens the other night.
I don't know which one was the bigger loss, because they certainly could use a Roger Clemens. They had no chance with the big unit. He wanted to go to Arizona. That's home. And he wanted to pitch at home.
Shave showing bunt and pulls back. Count runs to 2-0.
And he's off to a terrific start again.
Oh, an entire Arizona team.
Can you believe that?
Oh, we saw McGuire homer today to tie Jay Bell. He's got 20 home runs too.
Who'd have thunk it?
Maybe only Mrs. Bell. Bobby's doing just fine. 3-0 the count. And Arizona right now 40-27. This Texas team 39-27. Rusty Greer, top of the order. The bat after John Shave. And Shave takes a walk. Joe Kerrigan out to have a word or two with Jin Ho Cho. And folks, tomorrow, two of NFL Europe's top teams, the Barcelona Dragons with Lawrence Phillips meeting up with the Frankfurt Galaxy. They'll battle it out as the countdown to Fox's coverage of the World Bowl begins. The action heats up tomorrow at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If Barcelona wins it, they are in the World Bowl.
The left fielder, Rusty Greer.
Josh, there are good walks and there's bad walks. That was a bad walk right there. Not only was it on 4 pitches, but it's who you walk and when you walk them.
Sets it up for Rusty Greer. And we mentioned the first time in 5 years he's batted as a leadoff man. Tom Goodwin, remember, is on the DL. Mark McLemore has a day off today. And Frank, we were talking about that potential Roger Clemens trade. Greer is one of the players the Blue Jays wanted. And the fact that the Rangers insisted on keeping Greer out of any trade talk, Greer says, is pretty flattering.
Well, it's credit that's due him, because he's an outstanding player, period. He's getting better every year. He's an all-round player. He doesn't steal bases, but he's a good offensive player and he's a good defensive player. You very rarely see him dive for a ball in the outfield and not catch it. He gets a terrific jump on the ball, and he saves an awful lot of runs defensively, and he's an excellent hitter.
Slashes that one foul.
And when you get a good young hitter like that, a good young player, you just don't want to part with him, because there's no guarantees that if he'd have been included in a trade, that the arm doesn't blow on the pitcher, Roger Clemens or whoever they might get, the big unit or whoever. And then all of a sudden, here this kid is, he's tearing up the league for years to come.
Well, you mentioned the Yankees right now, and that is where Roger Clemens ended up. If the Rangers end up losing the AL West by a game or two, consider this. Texas plays 12 games against the Yankees this year. The rest of the AL West plays 10. And Texas has lost a lot to the New York Yankees of late, even in the playoffs, as Mark Guthrie gets ready in the Boston pen. Greer to left field, shoots it foul. That was a big couple of wins at Yankee Stadium right before the Rangers arrived here in Boston. They had lost a couple. The first 2 of that 4-game series, making them 7-28 in their last 35 against the Yankees. And Johnny Oates, very uncharacteristically, did a little Billy Martin throwback in that clubhouse. Got pretty upset right in front of the media. Another foul by Greer. If you were to take a poll of American League managers and ask who is the least likely in that managerial fraternity to just lash out after a loss. I bet you'd hear Johnny Oates' name.
It would be pretty close to being the first one, if not the first one, I'll tell you that. Because he's usually pretty cool and keeps his temper under control. Because he knows that he can't control what happens out there on the field. If the players don't do it, they don't do it. If you don't get them today, you get them tomorrow. And he has a ball club that can do that, come back and rattle off 5 or 6, 7, 8 games in a row.
Outside 3-2. We saw Jimmy Williams, too. He's another guy that really just keeps it very even keeled, which in this town, for this team, it's pretty important to do.
Yes, it is. But you know, when you keep losing to one team, especially a team that's on top, and they keep beating on, sooner or later it just gets to you, and you have to let it out. And I'm sure that's what happened to Johnny.
On 3-2, runners not going, and the ball fouled again. What an at bat by Rusty Greer.
What I'm really surprised about is not putting the runners in motion. Rusty Greer makes good contact. He doesn't strike out very much. And you can stay out of a double play if it's the ball on the ground, possibly. I'm very surprised they're not putting him in motion.
It's the 10th pitch of the at-bat. And Greer hammers it to right field. Trot Nixon is there. Tagging from second is Alicea. And he'll scoot to third with 2 out. So Cho finally wins out, if you can call it that. That ball was hit hard.
It's a good pitch. It's a good pitch. He got an out. That's all that matters. Very nice swing on Rusty Greer's part. Just didn't elevate that ball. Just can't guide it. He didn't.
So now the inning left to Roberto Kelly. He tags the first one out of play. Roberto Kelly began his career with the Yankees back in '87.
They're expecting big things from him for a number of years to come. He just didn't develop into that type of player for the Yankees.
Rip and a miss, 0-2.
When he first came up with the Yankees, he drove the ball to right center field. He could hit the ball out of the ballpark pretty consistently over that way. And since he's become more of a pull hitter, he doesn't drive the ball as well as he did before to right field.
Good place to pull here at Fenway Park.
But you can't become obsessed with pulling, though, Josh, because then it fouls up your game. It gets inside your head, and you try to pull pitches you shouldn't be pulling. You just got to play your normal game.
Right field, Trot Nixon coming on. Battling the glare of the sun, he makes the catch. Nomar Garciaparra will lead it off for the Red Sox when we return after this on Fox.
Brought to you by smooth, refreshing Michelob Light. Beer or Michelob. By Pep Boys. Cars like us, people love us. By Remington's Microscreen 3 Shaver, built to shave incredibly close. And by K-Swiss Athletic Footwear and Apparel.
At Fenway Park, the Red Sox, strengthened by a 3-run second inning, leading the Texas Rangers 4-3. Josh Lewin, Frank Robinson. Fox Baseball Saturday. Thanks so much for joining us. You'll be watching Nomar Garciaparra leading off for the Sox in the 5th inning. And a guy that Frank was comparing favorably to the guy he used to manage, Cal Ripken, last time up. Tags it to left field. This ball is high off the monster, and Garciaparra has himself a leadoff double. Second double of the ball game for Garciaparra. And he hit it just to the left of that All-Star Game 99 logo. He'll be looking at that again on Fox in mid-July.
That'll be a fun time then. All the players from both leagues, some of the better players out of both leagues here together. That'll be a fun time. I remember we used to watch Yaz play that wall. He'd have been right up under that ball and played it off the wall and had a shot at the man going into second base. He wouldn't let that ball hit the ground. He was a master at playing that ball out there.
Had a lot of practice. Now here's O'Leary. And he drifts it into the seats.
O'Leary right here has to understand the situation. They're up by 1 run. The man is second, nobody out. He's got to look for a pitch on the inner part of the plate to pull to the right side of the field. If he doesn't get the run home with a base hit, at least get the man to third base with 1 out and give his team a chance to get him in from there. Up into 2 strikes. He's got to try to do that, even if he has to take a pitch on the outside part of the plate. That's a strike.
Two. Now the count to Troy O'Leary. John Burkett forced out there in the second inning. Mark Clark went just an inning and a third. His shortest ever starts at the big league level. He allowed 7 hits. Two doubles in the game for Nomar Garciaparra. And he's now hitting close to 330. Outside to Troy O'Leary. His batting average up above 300 coming in.
He's having an outstanding year offensively. He's taking advantage of that wall out there. Get a pitch to pull, he pulls it. He gets the pitch out of the plate. He hits the ball off that wall out there to left field.
Down the line this time, wide of first and foul. Yeah, O'Leary's on a pace for 32 home runs, and there hasn't been a Red Sox outfielder who's had even 26 home runs since Dewey Evans did it 13 years ago.
That's been a while. You're talking about a pretty good player right there. What an arm. Talk about Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate being a weapon. He was a weapon in the outfield. You didn't take too many liberties with him out there.
Got him. Foul tipped into the glove of Pudge Rodriguez. We were talking about the '99 All-Star game. And we're going to flash you back to 1961. Rocky Colavito and Yogi Berra talking right there. And then the Rock off of Cincinnati's Bob Perky. Homers into the screen above the Green Monster. That's the only run for the American League in a game that ended in a 1-1 tie, called in the 9th inning because of rain. And again, this year's All-Star game right here in Boston, July the 13th on Fox. That was the second of the 2 All-Star games played that year. They double-dipped in '61.
Double-dip. Stu Miller got blown off the mound in the first one out in San Francisco. Right in the middle of his windup.
Today it was Mark Clark who was blown off the mound in a little different context. And John Burkett picking him up. Dealing outside to Mike Stanley, the former Texas Ranger, and a guy that certainly had some success there. His biggest claim to fame, catching Nolan Ryan's record 7th career no-hitter.
7. Wow.
Tip and the count 1-2.
One thing about Nolan, when I was a teammate of his for a couple of years, that anytime he took the mound, you felt like he could throw a no-hitter against any ball club he was facing that day. That's the kind of stuff that he had in those days. And later on in his career, he became even a better pitcher.
It's one of those unassailable records, you figure. Nolan Ryan, 5,714 strikeouts. And the 7 no-hitters, you figure, could be unassailable, too.
He didn't get me in there. I'm not in that number.
Attaway.
Only faced him once, so.
Well, I wasn't going to qualify it, but.
World Series. Wouldn't have counted anyway.
Nolan Ryan heading into the Hall of Fame as a Texas Ranger. When 3 different teams retire your number, you know you're doing something right. We mentioned those 5,700 strikeouts. You know, second place, Steve Carlton, 1,600 behind him. I mean, that's how far out, and it's like McGuire lapping Roger Maris last year, 70-61. One and two, the count to Mike Stanley. Runner at second is Garcia Parra, one out here in the 5th inning. John Burkett slowing down the pace of the game.
I'll tell you a pitcher, if he'd have stayed around and been able to stay around, Josh would have been right up there in that category, or right up there in that neighborhood with Sandy Koufax. You know, he put up 300-some strikeouts almost every year. He would have been right there.
Rodriguez and Burkett going to be talking it over here. While they talk it over, we'll show you the General Motors game summary. Offerman having the big day. Todd Zeile has a 3-run home run. And we mentioned nothing that Mark Clark is real happy about in terms of his 15th start of the season. In the air towards center, shallow. Whoa! Luis Alicea at the last moment was able to backtrack and get it. He and Kelly with some more miscommunication. First it was Rodriguez and Burkett unable to get together on signs. And a dangerous play in shallow center.
Give Alicea some credit here. He stayed right with it, though. He didn't back off the ball.
Number 39.
Kelly should have called him off of that ball.
The catcher, Creighton Gubanek.
He started, but he wasn't real sure that he wanted it. But Alicea stayed right with it. He didn't shy away from it.
Now the big catcher, Creighton Gubanek. And at least right now, as you mentioned, Frank, the Ranger bullpen keeping them in this game. They brought in a guy with an 8.57 ERA in Burkett to replace Mark Clark, who left with an ERA even higher than that, 8.6 after he got fluffed up today. But beyond those two gentlemen we're talking about, the rest of the numbers from out of that bullpen behind Burkett have been terrific.
I tell you, sometimes that's what can get a pitcher going. A stint in the bullpen where you can work on things, get up and throw, work on things, get into a ball game in a certain situation where it's not as much pressure, and have some success, and then regain it mentally and you know, physically, and feel good about it and get back in the starting rotation. That may be what they have to do with Clark, is get him a stint out in the bullpen where he can work some things out under controlled circumstances and get himself straightened out and get back in the starting rotation.
Now, whatever it takes, Mark Clark, who has been a starter throughout his career, just a handful of appearances out of the bullpen, most of them for the Indians in '93. On the ground past the mound, and the shortstop John Shave throws out Gubanek. Leadoff double does not blossom. We'll see some stars coming out for the Rangers. Palmeiro and Gonzalez will be hitting when we come back. Father's Day weekend here in Boston, playing with the Rangers and the Red Sox today on Fox. And with Palmeiro and Gonzalez coming up here, leading off the Texas 6th inning, we'll check out what we're calling the dynamic duos, the run-producing tandems around the American League, and those two guys rate very favorably to some other names that I'm sure you know.
And they'll be up there at the end of the year, if not on top. They produce runs.
Now, a name that we're just now learning, Jin Ho Cho, has been pretty good today. He made the one mistake. Todd Zeile hammered a 3-run home run past the screen and out onto Yawkey Way. Ball is driven foul by Palmeiro.
Very impressed with his composure out there on the mound. He knows what he wants to do, and he's doing it. He moves the ball from one side of the plate to the other. Mixes it in his breaking ball and off-speed pitches. There's one on the inside. Last one was on the outside. He still has his velocity, and he's still surprising hitters with how hard he's throwing the ball. And he's very composed out there on the mound.
and drifting over to take it. Now, next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, we'll take you down to the field with Fox's Sounds game. Yankees get together with the Orioles. Plus, there's other regional action. Coverage begins with In the Zone at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central on Fox, followed by the E-Trade pregame show with Keith Olbermann and Steve Psycho Lyons. Check your local listings. Juan Gonzalez to the plate. And takes two high from Jin Ho Cho. Gonzalez, a couple of fly balls to center.
Watching the Texas hitters against Cho, it looks like what we would call he's sneaky fast.
Fly ball this time doesn't as far as center. It hovers right near second base for Offerman.
And what I mean by that, well, Gonzalez hasn't had a good swing all day. They're pitching him away, fastballs and breaking balls, and his timing is completely off. He's out in front of everything. He's swinging with his arms. He just hasn't been patient enough to wait for a pitch that he can drive. But Joe is what we call sneaky, and what we mean by that is you can never get your timing to his fastball because he's throwing a little harder than it looks like he's throwing. And it makes it very difficult to hit off a pitcher like that.
Big cut, couldn't get it. And Jin Ho Cho had a 15 strikeout game for Pawtucket back in April. Most by a Pawtucket pitcher since a man named Oil Can Boyd back in 1984. Puts him in pretty good company. Another one fired right in there to Lee Stevens.
It's just going right after him.
Well, if he gets Stevens, that would be his 6th strikeout today. He's got the pitch count down too, Frank. Only 87 to this point.
His last time out in 6 innings, he threw 88 pitches. So he's around the plate and he makes you swing the bat.
Red Sox leading at 4-3. The teams traded 3-run innings back in the second. The Todd Zeile error put a run on the board for the Red Sox in the bottom of the first, and that right now the difference in the game. Got him. What'd you say? 88 pitches to get through 6 innings last time. It is 89 to get through 6 today. And a half a dozen strikeouts for Jin Ho Cho. 4-3 Boston on Fox.
By GMC Yukon Denali. Do one thing. Do it well.
Batting for the Red Sox, number 2, the center fielder, Damon.
This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. The game we're talking about is the Red Sox against the Texas Rangers on Fox today. We're at Fenway, the site of the '99 All-Star game. And you'll see it on these airwaves, too, on July the 13th. Damon Buford, the Boston batter. Breaking pitch outside from Burkett. All the runs scored early in this game. In fact, by the end of the second inning. Lined but foul. Damon Buford, a speedy guy, but as you know, Frank, because you were in Baltimore when he was in Baltimore, sometimes he fashions himself as a power kind of guy.
Well, he has some power, but he's not a power hitter. And he had trouble understanding that early in his career. I think he understands that now. He's a much better hitter now.
On the ground foul.
He has speed. He can steal bases. He's a good base stealer. What he has to understand is take advantage of his tools that he has. and that is to get on base and make things happen. Bunting, he's a good bunter, but he doesn't bunt. He wants to be able to hit line drives, hard ground balls through the infield, and he'll hit his 5 or 6, 7, 8 home runs a year just automatically.
You see, he chokes up a little bit. You don't normally see a guy bang one out of the park when he's choking up 1.5 inches.
Well, I don't know about that. I choked up for 9 years, 2 inches, and I banged them out of the ballpark. That doesn't take anything away from
I
you.
wondered if you were going to get yourself into that mix.
Oh, you know I would. Thanks for leading me into it.
Hey,
Dave.
my pleasure. And he bangs this one off the wall. Rusty Greer plays it, and Buford skids to a stop. He's got a long single. It looked like Alicea jammed his right hand upon receipt of that ball back in from Greer. The second baseman wandered over to make that play, getting the throw back in.
Greer played that very nicely off the wall. He got out there in a hurry. He got it back in.
And there's Alicea shaking that right hand. Take a look at the choked up bat.
I say, guys, when you're choked up on the bat, you don't lose any power if you have it. If you understand what I'm saying, you don't lose power, because that part of the bat that you're choked up off of, the knob part, you don't hit the ball with that. You still have the big part of the bat. What that does to me, choking up on it gives you better bat control, and it makes you quicker with the bat. Because you still have the big head of the bat out there, the hitting area to swing the bat. I'd like to see more hitters, especially young hitters, choke up on the bat a little bit. I don't think you'll see as many strikeouts as you do now.
I know earlier in your career, there were some that tried to remake your swing. Did anybody say to you, hey, you're a reasonably big guy, why don't you scoot your hands right down the bottom there?
No, they didn't say that, but what they tried to do was take the hitch out of my swing. And in those days, you did what the manager asked you to do, and I became a singles hitter. And when I was demoted down to Class A from Double A after that, I'd mentioned that to the general manager, Gabe Paul, at that time. And he says, let me tell you one thing. You go back to hitting the way you were hitting before, and don't ever let anyone else try to change you. And I never did. I changed myself quite a few times, but I didn't let anyone else do it.
See the lefty-righty action. This ball tagged by Trot Nixon. Curling away, and it is off the bottom of the wall. Here comes Buford with that speed that we were just talking about. He's in there, and Nixon hung up between second and third. Little stutter step, and that won't work. He's out, but he has doubled home Buford.
Well, as that speed, you're absolutely right, Josh. David Buford read that ball beautifully off the bat, took off, and had scored easily. But Nixon made a very bad, poor decision on the bases. Buford is going to score. He doesn't. He reads that ball beautifully off the wall. Right there, he hesitates just a little bit, and then he turns it on. He's going to score easy. Nixon should not have strayed off second base. Yeah, here's another little quirk out here in the outfield, right there at the bottom of that wall. A little tricky bounce right there. It's just there everywhere in this ballpark. Nice relay throw. Boom. Kept the ball down, gave the infield a chance to cut the ball off, and they got an out of it.
Jose Offerman already with a 3-hit day. Fouls one out of play.
Only two reasons for Nixon to try to go to third there, Josh. If he thinks there's going to be a play at the plate and the runner might have a chance of being thrown out, he's going to dare them to let the ball go through. Or if the ball is over the cutoff man's head, he can go into third base easy. That's the only reason. They would have to run in with a man at second base with nobody out. With one out, I'm sorry. No. Correct myself again. With nobody out.
Right. As it is one out, and Offerman, he'll be at second base for a while now because Jeff Fry is out. The injury will keep Fry out of the lineup maybe 4 or 5 weeks. So they had Offerman playing first. They had him DH, and they need him at second right now. Rip and a miss. He's down on strikes, and we get you back to Keith Olbermann at the Fox Television Center in L.A. It's the game break.
Josh, it's Alan Watson's debut for the Seattle Mariners, and it's not gone well. That's Robbie Alomar in the bottom of the fourth, making it an 8-3 Indian lead. The next batter's Manny Ramirez, his 19th, a 9-3 Indian lead. Watson gives up 3 homers in 1 1/3. Our advice to him: rent, don't buy. John?
Watson, come here. Put him in the Rangers bullpen and see what happens. They'll fix him up.
That's right. He's fitting right in at that bullpen out there in Seattle.
But here in Texas, and wouldn't that be funny if that was the difference in the AL West? Texas's bullpen, of all things. You know that Seattle's is still in disarray. Valentin clubs one out of play when the Rangers finally made it to the playoffs for the first time ever. In 1996, the bullpen had a lot to do with that. They were deep, but they just couldn't seem to close out the New York Yankees. And to try to combat that, they went out and got the Yankees closer after 96, John Wetland.
Can't beat them, join them.
That's right, or steal their closer.
Right.
Inside from Burkett.
You need a deep bullpen. You need a bullpen that's going to do a job for you the way starting pitchers are handled today. The managers usually tell their starting pitchers, give me 6 or 7 innings, and I'll go to my bullpen, and that's what usually happens today.
And it is pretty much the deepest bullpen in the American League. Johnny Oates carries a pitching staff of 12. That means it's a 7-man bullpen right now. And he might need that today. Mark Clark, the starter, went just 1 1/3.
Burkett has kind of saved them. He's given them good innings. Gave up a run so far this inning, but he's done a good job out there.
That ball finding center field, a base hit for John Valentin.
He may have hit the wall, though, right here, because they're starting to hit the ball very well off of him. And maybe it's time to get him out of there. But he's given them some innings. If he'd gotten roughed up early, Oates is making a change.
Well, you've got Daubach, Garciaparra, O'Leary set to come up 3, 4, 5 in the order. And they do ride Burkett into but not out of the 6th inning of play. It's the Red Sox in front of the Rangers 5-3 on Fox. That feel-good Texas Ranger bullpen, Mike Venefro, the lefty, comes on to face Brian Daubach. With a runner on, a run in, 5-3. The Red Sox have the lead. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning at Fenway today. Daubach sawed off. That funky sidearm delivery from Venefro has claimed a bat. He's come on inheriting quite a bit this year, but he is stranded 13 out of 21. This is a guy, Mike Venefro, who just a couple of years ago, Frank, was working as a substitute teacher in the offseason. Coming out of James Madison University. On the ground at first. And the out very casually taken care of by Lee Stevens. Fox Sports, home of the 1999 All-Star Game, will return to Boston after a word from your local Fox station. Ball game, it's the Red Sox 5 and the Rangers 3 on Fox today. Josh Lewin, Frank Robinson. Happy to be with you on a bright and beautiful Saturday afternoon here in New England. Pudge Rodriguez. Then Todd Zeile and Luis Alicea. Rangers looking to rally. They've had only 1 hit since the 2nd inning. Jin Ho Cho is the reason. His 5th big league start, 2nd this year. And he's been mighty good.
He's been excellent, except the 1 inning, and he didn't let that bother him.
Well, just as we're talking that, there goes Pudge Rodriguez.
The back must be all right.
I should say so. He put it on the rooftop out there. Beyond the monster, beyond the screen, it is a 5-4 game.
You can put it on the board. Yes.
They did that for a different Pudge, Fisk.
That's the Hawks call. Chicago White Sox announcer.
And the call here might be from Jimmy Williams. As he's on his way out to the mound, there is some action in the Boston bullpen. And immediately, he's not fooling around. Todd Zeile is already homered today. You won't have the chance to do it again off of Cho, but the crowd appreciates another fine effort from a young Boston pitcher. Pedro Martinez tomorrow, but it was Jin Ho Cho today. But from the famous essay, Hub fans bid Kid adieu. Ted Williams went out on top. He homered in his last at bat. Now Todd Zeile raking one, picked by Offerman. And Zeile is out. We'll get you back to that in a moment. But right now, Mr. History himself, Keith Olbermann, at the Fox Television Center. It's a game break in L.A.
Josh, no one in history knows how to pitch to Mike Piazza. That was ankle high from Darren Oliver. A 2-run homer, his second in as many games, 7-4, as the Mets threatened in the 5th inning with 2 on and Darren Oliver out. By the way, John Updike has asked for a reading fee.
I don't know who to send the check to. That guy looked a little like Bobby Valentine that was in that dugout.
Nah, terrible disguise of Bobby Valentine disguise. That's not Bobby Valentine.
The batter, Luis Alicea, but just getting back to what our Mr. Updike wrote about Ted Williams, that he came in with a hard blue glow of high purpose. Williams, the classic ball player of the game on a hot August weekday before a small crowd, when the only thing at stake is the tissue-thin difference of a thing done well and a thing done ill. That's some pretty writing right there. But you know, I mean, if you're looking to put Ted Williams and what he was all about and just kind of encapsulate it, I don't think you can do it better than that run-on sentence.
No.
3-1 the count now to Luis Alicea. And he'll take a stroll.
You know, we were talking about, you know, we put up some of the hit zones on some of the hitters here today, Josh. But in his book, he had his zone. And low and away, he hit 250.
The shortstop.
Now,
John
you couldn't pitch him anywhere else, but that was the one spot that he said was his weak spot. Low and away, he hit 250 in that spot.
Well, that's right. We really owe a bit of a debt, if not a financial cut, to Ted Williams as we use our hit zones here on Fox. Ted Williams, if you've read his book, line shot to third, and a quick toss to first is not in time. John Shave lines it right over to John Valentin for the out. But yeah, if you read about the science of hitting, according to Ted Williams, he had those colored baseballs all in the strike zone. And here's a hard shot. John Valentin almost turning 2, but not quite. That'll do it, by the way, for Kirk Bullinger. We get back to the top of the order with a lefty, so Mark Guthrie is going to come on now in a 5-4 game in the 7th inning. When we get into the 7th inning at Fenway, I'm sure there are some that will turn their eyes towards the Texas Ranger dugout, and they'll see a guy sitting there who, a little more than 20 years ago, broke some hearts here at Fenway Park. Bucky Dent is in that dugout for the Texas Rangers, and Bucky Dent was the man who, I mean, do we even have to go there for Red Sox fans? I think they know what this is all about. Remembered for one swing of the bat, breaking the heart of Sox fans with a 3-run homer in the AL East playoff in '78. And you know, Bucky Dent actually grew up a Yankees fan. His favorite player was Mickey Mantle.
Watching him, he's choking up on the bat.
That's Mickey Rivers' bat that he used. Actually, a Roy White model bat, borrowed from Mickey Rivers. And part of the rest of that story, you know, Bucky Dent would have been lifted for pinch hitter Jim Spencer, Frank, but Spencer had come on one batter earlier to pinch hit for Brian Doyle, who was only in there because of Willie Randolph's injury. So it's funny how those things work. Bucky Dent will always be remembered for that. And in a normal circumstance, he would never have been able to get in there. They would have loved to have pinch hit Spencer. And there's something else, too, Frank. If you ever get a chance to watch, I mean, slow it down frame by frame, when Carl Yastrzemski popped out to Greg Nettles to end that game, Bucky Dent was the only Yankee not immediately jumping for joy. He was scouring the Fenway infield dirt here for his St. Christopher's medal, which had broken loose from its clasp just as Yaz popped the ball up. He never did find it out there, and he finally did go in to celebrate in the clubhouse because, you know, it was the right thing to do. But only after he began to take off his uniform an hour later did he find the medal. It had fallen inside his uniform pants.
Number 29.
And I don't expect you to come back and comment on that, by the way.
I'm not going to touch that one.
Well, you can't have Bucky Dent at Fenway Park without flashing back, I suppose. Mark Guthrie takes to the mound now for the Red Sox in a 5-4 game. Red Sox have the tying man on. 2 down. Good pitch. Starting up with a changeup, and it's 0-1.
He's one of these left-handers that come in to get left-handers out. He also can pitch to right-handers, but they try to limit his time out there on the mound to maybe 1 inning or a couple of hitters.
The run coming in this inning on a Pudge Rodriguez home run. Both he and Todd Zeile have hit their 11th of the season today for Texas. Drove it over the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Red Sox bullpen heating up again. Real Cormier and John Wasden. Rusty Greer, 0 for 3. One ball, 2 strikes.
You look out that Wasden, Josh, he's almost as good as Zimmerman. He's 6-0. Zimmerman is 7-0. So it's nice to have a guy out there like that in the bullpen.
It looks like it will be the battle of the bullpens today. Jin Ho Cho went 6+ for Boston this afternoon. Kirk Bollinger came on. Now it is Guthrie. Meantime, for the Rangers, Mark Clark just an inning and a third, followed by John Burkett and Mike Venefro.
You'll probably see Guthrie drop down and really give him a sidearm breaking ball there, probably.
Runner goes, and the ball slapped to second for Offerman. And that will get us to the 7th inning stretch. The Red Sox at home have the lead on the Rangers. And Garciaparra about to come up. Take a look at today's A&W Fan Cam Fanatic of the game. Now, this is Pudge Rodriguez's home run. These are Ranger fans. Watch these guys as they remember where they are very, very quickly.
Now batting for the Red
That is
Sox,
a silent
number 5,
tribute
the shortstop
to Pudge Rodriguez. They had the peace of mind to know their place here at Fenway Park. They don't want to get abused, but they were pretty happy to see it fly away. That got the Rangers back to within 5-4, and the Rangers make a pitching change as Nomar Garciaparra leads off the last of the 7th. This is Danny Patterson. Patterson's got that split finger forkball thing, whatever you want to call it. He calls it a Vulcan forkball. And the grip looks like Spock's live long and prosper sign. So basically wedging the ball in between the 3rd finger and the 4th. So whatever works for you, it has worked for Patterson. Maybe not against Garciaparra, however. Gone! They'll be stuffing that all-star ballot box here at Fenway all day. Garciaparra, 2 doubles and a homer.
should have thrown him that fork ball.
Now O'Leary takes a strike, and we were eavesdropping after Garcia Parra's last at bat. Jim Rice's microphone. We picked up Jim kind of getting on Nomar Garcia Parra, saying that double that he crashed off the top of the wall was soft. So that's nothing. You got to hit the ball harder than that. And Garcia Parra was stating his case. He said, hey, I just missed. I mean, it was almost a home run. And Rice was joking with him, saying, nah, you got to hit it better. And he did next time.
He's a good pupil. Did right what the teacher said.
1 ball, 2 strikes to count.
I know Nomar probably walked back and say, how's that? And Rice probably said, that's the way I used to hit him, kid.
Oh, Jim Rice probably said, no, I used to hit him farther. Still not good enough. In there, strike 3. O'Leary was struck out for the 3rd time today. Now Garcia Parra, we talked about the golden age of shortstops that's upon us right now, Frank, with Alex Rodriguez in Seattle, Derek Jeter in New York, and you got to talk about this guy too.
Well, there's no doubt about that one, where he's going to land.
Now Mike Stanley takes, and the count 1-0.
What you see in him, Josh, is he's getting better, understands what he can do at the plate with certain pitches, and he's getting stronger. And the ball is just jumping off his bat now.
Garcia Parra, 35 home runs last year, and here's why we say it's the golden age for shortstops. 13 years ago, Jackie Gutierrez was the Boston shortstop. Bobby Meacham in New York, Spike Owen for Seattle. The position has changed incredibly in just half a generation.
You look at those numbers and home runs. Look at the batting average and the home runs. Look at that difference. And also these guys still play outstanding defense. That's the other important ingredients there. They're not just offensive players, they're all-around players.
Spike Owen going on to play for the Red Sox the year after he was in Seattle. And it's funny, you look around the American League and to a lesser extent the National League right now, Frank, and it used to be, I mean, heck, 30 years ago, the Detroit Tigers won it all with Ray Oyler as their everyday shortstop, who hit 135 that season. They made a change once they got to the World Series, got Mickey Stanley in there, but point is, and heck, you know, in Baltimore, Mark Belanger got the Orioles through. Light-hitting shortstops could still get it done as long as they could field. But these days, it seems you got to do both.
Who'd you vote for the All-Star game shortstop? Jeter or Garcia Parra?
Neither.
Who'd you vote for? Ray Oyler?
Alex Rodriguez, baby. Can only vote for one.
I thought you voted for Davy Cruz.
No, don't think so. Although Davy did draw his 3rd walk of the year yesterday. We're to send him a card. No, you can't go wrong with any 3 of those, and I know that I've, you know, just made enemies of Red Sox and Yankees fans. Boy, what a spot to be in there. But, I mean, really, it's a 3-way tie. And you can toss a 3-sided coin. I chose Alex Rodriguez.
Gosh, how can you not vote for Jeter? He's hitting 380.
Well, how can you not vote for Garcia Parra? He's going to be playing, if he is voted in his home ballpark.
That has nothing to do with it. Home ballpark. Let's not become a homer here now. You know, Boston Red Sox fans all out here at the ballpark. They're not listening to this. So you don't have to be a homer. Come on.
Well, let's see.
Really?
Garcia Parra, 12 home runs.
Right.
Alex Rodriguez has that many, but he's done it in 6 weeks less time because he was hurt. Stanley, deep drive, left field, towards the monster. It hits the monster and rolls out. It's a home run. Texas bullpen. Patterson comes on, gives up a couple of drives. Garcia Parra first, and now Stanley, his 7th.
If you're going to get to the Texas bullpen, this is one of the guys that does a little give up the runs out there. Patterson. That's why I was a little surprised that he brought him in this situation with the score in the ball game at this stage in the ball game.
Now Creighton Gubanich, and the count goes to 2-0 on him. Home runs to left at Fenway today. Rangers got him from Todd Zeile and Pudge Rodriguez. Now the Red Sox here in the 7th get him from Garcia Parra and Stanley.
This game still isn't over. Not in this ballpark. You never have enough runs or you feel comfortable until you're in the clubhouse with a W.
And Texas coming up with 2, 3, 4 in the order come the 8th inning. If we ever get there. Pitching has been the strength for the Boston Red Sox. Maybe not so much out of the bullpen, although it has been solid. The Red Sox have done it with great starting pitching, namely Pedro Martinez, who will be on the mound tomorrow.
How about that closer out there now?
Gonna have to be the knuckleballer. Jimmy Williams telling us, hey, I know it's unconventional, but Tom Gordon with the elbow problem, he's gone off for a couple of opinions on what to do with that elbow. Swing and a miss by Gubanich. He's down on strikes. And this inning for Patterson has been a home run, strikeout, a home run, strikeout.
Number 2, the center fielder, Damon Buford.
That's one of the things the Red Sox are hoping they don't have to deal with. That is Flash Gordon going under the knife. They're hoping they can avoid that, of course. But for now, a knuckleballer for the closer, Tim Wakefield. Busted bat bouncer near second. Alicea has got Damon Buford, but a couple of home runs in the inning. Garcia Parra and Stanley over the wall in left. 7-4 Red Sox.
Used to be, if I want something done right, I called me. It worked. Until I tried to quit smoking. I needed more than me. I got Nicorette. Nicorette helped me 2 ways. I used it on a regular schedule to help prevent my cravings, and for unexpected cravings, I was ready with an extra piece. I used to be a slave to cigarettes. Nicorette helped me hang on, helped me win. Now that I'm nicotine-free, I gotta tell you, it feels good to win.
Now Nicorette is available in mint. What a refreshing choice. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
I can't believe I can get this close with an electric shaver.
The 1999 Remington Microscreen 3 gives you 3 things no other shaver can. Our most powerful motor, more cutting edges than any leading shaver, and 3 flexing microscreens. You'll say no electric shaves you closer, faster, or your money back. The Remington Microscreen 3. And men with beards. Get the Remington Precision Beard and Mustache Trimmer. Designed like no other with 8 beard length settings and mustache and neckline trimmers. Precision is perfectly easy.
It's time for E-Trade, the #1 place to invest online.
So what you're saying is you can't change your oil every 3,000 miles because you're too busy. So you push it. Just like your cheap brother-in-law at one of those all-you-can-eats. Hey, it's your car. You want to learn the hard way? Be my guest. This is reformulated Quaker State. Protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions. You ought to change your oil on time, but if you can't, can you say insurance? Quaker State. It's been tested. It works. What more do you need to know?
Jeter and the Yankees take on Bell and the Orioles. Or the Reds battle the Astros. Coverage begins next Saturday within the Zone on Fox.
Boston comes out here in the 8th inning with a new catcher, Jason Varitek. Why? Well, you've got a knuckleballer on the mound now, Tim Wakefield. Knuckles one in to Roberto Kelly. And indeed, this is now the Boston closer. With Tom Gordon on the shelf, he's asked to pitch 2 innings of relief. And Roberto Kelly spins one towards right. Back is Alterman to make the catch.
Number 25, the designated
Now, Tim
hitter,
Wakefield
Rafael Palmeiro.
was, of course, a starter. And trying to get the Boston Red Sox through the thicket here without Flash Gordon, who, of course, used to be a starter himself. And Tim Wakefield, as a reliever this year, in 5 games, has yet to allow an earned run. He is 3 for 3 in save opportunities. Palmeiro slashes one to right. And his first hit of the day.
Howard.
Get a look at the knuckleball coming in here from the right-hander, Tim Wakefield.
Number 19, the right fielder.
That one just kind of tumbled in there right into the Palmeiro zone. If I was in Jimmy Williams' shoes, I'd be a nervous wreck bringing a knuckleball pitch in to close a ball game. But he has a lot of confidence in Wakefield. Getting the ball over the plate, and also Varitek catching it. He says he catches it like it's a normal type pitch, and so far, he's right. He catches it like it's no problem.
Well, he mentions that Hoyt Wilhelm used to come out of the bullpen with a knuckleball, but of course that the role of a closer has really changed since the time of Hoyt Wilhelm.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, Gus Triandes used to make a lot of trips back to the backstop.
That is a foul ball off the bat of Juan Gonzalez.
When he was catching Wilhelm, he made you saw his number an awful lot, going back to the backstop and playing him off the backstop. It's just that so many things could go wrong, though, when you're dealing with a knuckleball late in the ball game, especially a tight ball game.
Well, the Red Sox have allowed more pass balls than any team in the major leagues right now, 14. 12 of them have been with Wakefield on the mound. Slap towards first. Wakefield covering, and he's there. Varitek goes in for Gubanich. It's not like Varitek is the cure-all here. He's been behind the plate for a bunch of those pass balls, but simply stated, he's had more experience trying to stay with the Wakefield knuckler than Gubanich.
And the other thing, talking to pitching coach Joe Kerrigan, he said Wakefield varies the speed of his knuckleball off of how the hitter reacts to the previous knuckleball. If he pulls a hard knuckleball, then he'll take something off the next pitch. If he's out in front, then he'll put a little bit more on.
Strike one to Lee Stevens. And Creighton Gubanich, by the way, did catch a knuckleballer down at Pawtucket, a kid named Jared Fernandez. But that knuckleball is not quite what Tim Wakefield's is yet. On the ground to first. No problem. Tim Wakefield pitches through the 8th. Now the Red Sox looking to pad the lead in the bottom of the inning. It is 7-4 on Fox. At Fenway, and folks, here's your chance to win a Nissan Frontier Crew Cab, the first compact pickup with 4 real front hinge doors. Just answer the question coming up on your screen right now. Log on to foxsports.com for your chance to win. And we'll announce the winners live during the All-Star Game right here on Fox from Boston on July the 13th. Mike Munoz becomes the next Texas pitcher. The 5th of the afternoon. Mark Clark started, went just an inning and a third. Since then it's been Burkett, Venafro, Patterson, now Munoz. Opening up with a lefty, Trot Nixon.
Munoz is right over the top, fastball, curveball, splitter. Who doesn't throw a splitter today?
Ball is peeled towards left. And Rusty Greer near the track takes care of it. With one out here in the bottom of the 8th inning, We remind you that Baseball Thursday is, as always, on Fox Sports Net. The Red Sox take on the Orioles. Or you'll see two of baseball's most intimidating figures having at it, as Big Mac takes on perhaps the big unit, Cardinals Diamondbacks. Check your local Fox Sports Net cable listings. Jose Offerman, top of the order, strike one.
Well, speaking of playing the ball off the wall, off the green monster out there, Josh, we're in there to play a ball game. Don Buford's playing left field. I'm in right. Yastrzemski's on first base. And there's a fly ball to left field. Don Buford backs up against the wall. His back is against the wall. And when the ball just gets to the wall and hits off the top of the wall, he jumps. Straight up, straight out for the ball, and hits about 2 feet from the top of the wall where the screen comes into the wall, which is 37 feet above the ground. And I'm left right field saying, what the heck is he doing?
Ground ball to third. And Zeal throws out Offerman.
So when I get in the dugout, I said, Don, what are you doing? He didn't answer. I said, Don, what were you doing? He didn't answer. And the third time he answered, he says, I was deking the runner. I said, yeah, right. Yaz was in the dugout dusting off, watching what's going on when the ball came off the wall. You really deked him. I couldn't believe he's jumping for the ball. It's the 2 feet from the top of the wall.
Don had pretty good vertical, but I don't know if he can get up to 37 feet.
Not that good. So we gave him a nickname, a Sky Road.
And Don's son, Damon, playing center field today for the Red Sox, as Valentin takes ball one. Couple hits for John Valentin today. That one smacks over the outside corner. And Texas, by the way, as we look ahead to the ninth, they've got 6, 7, 8 in the order scheduled, beginning with Pudge Rodriguez, who has a home run. In there from Munoz, 1 and 2.
I love the way they have that Texas bullpen set up with the left-handers, right-handers out there. You can really match up with what the other manager's trying to do during the game.
Now, John Oates saying that if he could, he'd have a 10-man bullpen instead of a 7.
I'm sure he would.
But, you know, we talk about having a 7-man bullpen, and you figure that's not a forever thing. The position players are going to start needing days off as the heat gets turned up down in Texas. John Shave throws out Valentin. We are at the end of 8, and the last chance for Texas is coming up. Red Sox 5-3 on Fox. Heading into the 9th inning, and Tim Wakefield is going to try and save it. The knuckleballer would get his 4th career save. And Ivan Rodriguez, well, there's a knuckleball that got by everybody. And did you see Dan Morrison slam that ball back into the glove of Jason Varitek? Would you please try to protect me next time?
Old habits are hard to break. At the end of the inning, I was looking out for the bullpen, looking for Gordon to come in.
That is a foul ball. Got Gordon with the elbow problems. So it is Wakefield. And the one thing Red Sox pitching coach Joe Kerrigan reminds us of, the truly outstanding knuckleballers, Frank, always had that good secondary pitch they could mix in. With Phil Niekro, it was the slider. Wakefield has a cut fastball if he needs it. And he bloops that one upstairs, 2-1. Rodriguez could have backed up and swung again if he wanted to. 2-2. 2 straight fluttering in there at 67.
I found the knuckleball to be the most difficult pitch for me to hit, because you don't know where it's going to wind up. It's just a very difficult pitch. You don't know if it's going to go up, down, sideways, or in.
Count runs full to Rodriguez, who's 2 for 3 with a homer in his return to the lineup today.
The advantage also that a knuckleballer has, you see them so seldom that you really don't get accustomed to them.
He walked him. Rodriguez is on here in the 9th inning. Todd Zeile coming up next. We're going to take a quick look at today's Energizer play of the game. Omar Garcia-Parra, who's been on base 4 times today with a walk, a couple doubles. This home run led off the 7th inning, helped the Red Sox pull away a little bit. That is the Energizer play of the game. But will he be the starting all-star shortstop here at Fenway?
You know, all of a sudden, the Rangers have the tying run on deck. So they're still not out of this ball game.
Down and outside, stabbed at by Varitek.
Stanley at first base could play a little deeper because that run doesn't mean a thing to the Texas Rangers or Boston.
Strike is in there from Wakefield, and we saw Rodriguez, the runner at first. One of the more surprising stats of this season, 15 steals, but he doesn't figure to be going anywhere here.
Well, you don't figure, but if he got a good jump off, that wouldn't be bad to go down to second base to get out of double play.
Well, he's not being held on over there at first base. 2 balls, 2 strikes a count now at the plate to Zeile.
Because what the Red Sox are looking for right now are outs. They have a 3-run lead. They're looking for outs, so they're not paying any attention to him over there. And it also give your club possibly a chance to get an extra out if you don't get down there and don't get hit into a double play. They're going to give you something, take it.
Well, Todd Zeile took away from Jin Ho Cho back in the 2nd inning, clobbered a 3-run home run. Cho, by the way, is on line for the win. It would be his first as a major leaguer. Got him. Now Luis Alicea scheduled to come up.
Luis Alicea.
I was balancing. I'd be right in on the grass and take any thought of a bunt away from him.
Alicea will bat. Mark McLemore has moved on deck instead of John Shea. McLemore, by the way, one guy who has proven time and again he can hit the knuckleball. Against Wakefield, McLemore is 5 for 6. So he will hit unless there's a double play right here. Texas had come in as we see McLemore getting ready. The Rangers having won 24 of their last 36, winning 2 in New York before getting here. Just missed 2-1. Boston trying to stay close to the Yankees. If they hang on here, they'd be 38-29. Towards the seats, a foul ball. The Rangers had a 3-1 lead back in the top of the 2nd. It has been mostly, if not all, Boston since then. Just outside. Got it. 2 strikeouts for Wakefield in the 9th. And it'll be left to Mark McLemore. Well, tonight on Fox, tomorrow we look at a brand new lineup with the King of the Hill, Futurama, moving to their new nights. The best night on television just got better with King of the Hill and Futurama starting tomorrow at 7, 6 Central on Fox. That is tomorrow's Sunday night lineup, and we hope you can join us. Ball gets away from Varitek following a strike. And the Red Sox fans know they're a strike away from a 7-4 win against Texas.
The drop on that last pitch of that strikeout, that's unbelievable.
Foul tipped. Now, originally, Dan Morrison just had the fist in the air, but then he saw the ball rolling away. Said, "Oh, yeah, right, okay, foul ball." Tying man on deck. McLemore drives it to center. And the tying man stays on deck. The ball game's over. Wakefield wraps it up. And it's the first big league win for Jin Ho Cho. The Red Sox up to 38-29. The Rangers down to 39-28. Frank, we predicted offense. We got a little bit today.
Yes, we did. And it really brought the fans into this ball game because a lot of it was on the Boston side of it. And they come here to see the home runs go over that green monster out there.
We saw a bunch of long balls today. Nomar Garcia-Parra pegged one. He also had a couple of doubles. And it helps Jin Ho Cho get that first big league win. Garcia-Parra, one of the stars of the day, extends his hitting streak to 7. For Frank Robinson, I'm Josh Lewin saying so long from Boston. Again, your final score, the Red Sox 7, Rangers 4. Keith Olbermann and Steve Lyons will be along with scores after these messages.